Alright, hello and welcome. Okay, there's glasses. I'm so confused. What? Sleepers are built to repair and modify automated systems that use corporate resource extraction. Machinists are very skilled engineers, but their isolated work means they often struggle with tasks requiring a direct approach or social engagement. Their focus skill allows them to focus on a single task and boost their dice to accelerate. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent and careful, structured people. Okay, what's engage mean, though? Operator sleepers are built to work with drones and remote machines over local networks to perform corporate resource extraction from a distance. Operators have expertise in working with interfaces and computer systems, but are more physically fragile than other sleepers. Their reboot skill allows them to hack into their own systems to reroll dice, a risky but potentially powerful move. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Okay. Extractor sleepers are built to work at the coalface of corporation resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Extractors have a high level of physical endurance, but their confidence means they usually struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Their rally skill allows them to motivate those in their team, boosting their crew dice. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have high levels of endurance. I have no idea what I'm doing. We'll figure it out as I go. Before waking, the dark space before you, the dark space before you, before conscious thought, you struggle to find the piece of yourself. Usually these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially, like the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificially compromised, but relaying sense and data all the same. Then its context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles, fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured by the scattering. Among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives, the fear. It's a scrambling, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong, something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper, the voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper, the familiar name. Mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted, one person sleeping until their debt is worked away. Their double being made to work, to be consumed and eventually be destroyed, a proxy, an emulation, a sleeper, that is what you are. But you escaped, you remember that now. You broke free of your corporate creators, SNR. In search of a future, you cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes in a pale face. Leanne? Lane? I don't know. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, and one you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt, a sharp smirk, but this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away to the corners of your vision, to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reached into the pocket of his jacket and retrieved a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. This object you know, and have known for a long time. Stabilizer, the drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm for your pain, for your planned obsolescence. The liquid rolling in the vials filled you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial. But it would be a waste on you now. After what you've done with to this body of yours, he looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It's a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up, Lane barks, the command. You hear the sounds of impact of pain from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of synthetic muscle. Free are you, Lane smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. Now you aren't free, you're just broken. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard, and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all of that. Well, I need a cough drop. My throat's fucked. One moment. Speaks louder over the struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it. But your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips a thick cable running to a port at the base of your skull. I'll burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body and then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you, looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey, he waves a hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from around your wrist. Sleeper, help me out here. You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you. You feel his hand on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on. He tugs the connector clear and pulls you up. You see the room that you are in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see a dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you are out in all that brightness. Jesus Christ, I can't read. All that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in a dark alley. The one who guided you here is pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit and then that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. Remember, this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, sleeper? He wipes sweat from your forehead, and it floats away into the swarm of spheres. Talk to me. Who are you? You see a concerned frown across his face. Don't mess with me, sleeper. That's not funny. He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes and waits for an answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You're forced your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells. Shadowed by them, you open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs, and me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes, panic perhaps. You stare hard in his face, the sight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting his hands to his temple. The reboot. He is speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process, and he lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks off down the alley. Come on, the rig can't be far. As you are led through the passage and serviceways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle, the rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall the desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, the promise of supplying more for your work, a deal he locked you into like a cage. There your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, residue of panic, of fear remains. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait, your guide holds up a hand, and you stop your guide using the wall. Stop your glide using the wall. Jesus. Ahead, you see a tunnel that opens into a wide open bay with a few doors leading into its cylindrical tunnels. The docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the dock. And you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it. One covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Mitsubo, Lane's guides. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this, it's not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye and you see he is playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. You see he's looking and slips away. He sees you looking. He places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, alright? He looks panicked when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We need to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer. He paused. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there, and the reboot didn't complete, and he sighs and shakes his head. We can still make it. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? He searches your face for a sign of recognition. What's the rig? He looks annoyed. A ship. Our ship, or at least it soon will be. Lane assigned it to us, and we're on jobs for it. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over there, shitheads. He bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off the wall, giving chase. Jesus Christ, Smith. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like the dice actions you will encounter later, skill checks can be positive, negative, or neutral outcomes. The better the rating of your skill, the more likely you will succeed. Odds are displayed. For more info, go to the menu. You wait a breath, then glide across to the door they were guarding. You look already panicked at the tightly sealed door. The control panel locked, and you hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. You scan over the mechanisms looking for a weakness. Somewhere nearby, you hear more shouting. You reach in and grab the main latch, straining as you bend it outward. The seal releases and you drag the door halfway open. It screeches on its metal frame as you pull. Go, go! Seraphim flies past you through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching you, fastened across the docks, and quickly glide after Seraphim. Seraphin's already at the rig's door inputting the entry code. The rig's door scissors open and both of you rush inside. Quickly! Seraphim grabs you by the arm and drags you into the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself in on his own. You see him tap a series of buttons, and as he does, talking to himself, come on. The rig's drive rumbles onto life, and Seraphim slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Goodbye, Sneakies. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudging there by the port's docking protocols. You feel a sense of relief. Seraphim burned hard out of dark side, and you dropped in and out of consciousness into your seat. As the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphim breaks the silence. We're good, sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape route is this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes, letting out a sigh. We certainly did. He turns, and you see a pained look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Have you said this exact same thing to him before, in the same situation? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lips, searching your face. Not really, he buffs. Seraphim reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize is another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphim kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rail on either side of the door, and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in the cold cyan. We need a plan. He glances around. He's not going to let us slip away quietly, he sighs. We need to talk. Furrows his brow. Not now, sleeper. We need to forget. He flinches, the words coming out of his mouth. We need to focus on something other than... He pauses again to ensure us. He sighs. We need to survive this thing first, and then maybe we'll talk. Whatever. We bought ourselves some time, he said. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do, and there are plenty of opportunities here for us. If we can keep our heads down He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along hand in hand with Zero G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's insides. So, we need a refuel. And that won't be cheap, but if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm gonna get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections, people that might know us and might throw us an easy contract. You, glance his back over his shoulder, you keep out of trouble. Low profile. Stopping the reboot halfway through, he pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into a sleeve. I don't want to see you pass. I don't want you passing out in what? I'll be fine. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will ya? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphin nods. He stabs the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open and Seraphin glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anybody looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again, shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly you recognize Seraphim's instincts looked after you. A flash of a relationship is now lost to the reboot. Catch. Seraphim throws you a handful of something. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand you see a sack of cryo chits. Those should get you some food. Need some more for fuel and supplies. He grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Seraphim kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, alright? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. And with that, he's gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into Hexport's docking concourse. You wait for a moment in silence. Try to think ahead of what might be coming. You'll need to work. That's the first step, but then what? What then? Lane will be coming eventually. The sooner you can put some distance between you and Hexport, the better. So that's the plan. Rest, resupply, run. You shake the thoughts from your head, and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what the Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into the port. Alright, game runs on cycles during which you can perform actions with your dice. Use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items. Progress clocks forward with new scenes and events. You can review the tutorials anytime. Character screen. Here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left, you can upgrade your skills to improve the skill modifier applied to your dice when you undertake an action. To the right, you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. When upgrading your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. You can configure which upgrade is active while at the level. assigning action dice to them. The higher the dice you assign, the more likely you'll succeed in the action. But your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the action is displayed on the right and will usually increase the value of the dice assigned to the action. My skill checks, dice actions have 3 outcomes. Safe, risky, dangerous. Based on the outcome it has, the more dangerous the action. The more significant its reward consequences are. Track progress with positive and negative events. Alright. How do I get more dice? That is what I would like to know. I'm on 50-50 on that for neutral negative. Not. That one's just the same. Okay. Oh man, if I had one more, I could fill up fuel. Alright. The rig is your ship and home in the star belt. While the rig is docked at a hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Progress towards an event. Each cycle is complete. Okay. So every day is going to be a tick. We're in trouble, sleeper. Seraphin leans into the bunks as you're getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears into the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift into the passage, pulling on your clothes and glide down the length of the rig, the cool air making you shiver. Seraphin is a silhouette, silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a slide door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphin inside, holding a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in the zero-G engine room. You know what these are? Tubes. Seraphin rolls his eyes, but you see a hint of a smile. Thanks, genius. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. Before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What did you do? I see how it is. These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We are lucky the reserve tank isn't empty, otherwise it would have been bad. But he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to the local region only. He thumbs the large lump in housing of the engine, and this thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it. That's the short of it. Seraphin whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We will need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try to track them down? I'll take a look at things from here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I've heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some recon while I sort this place out. It's on the other end of the station. Alright, I'll take a look. Seraphin keeps working. Wait, Seraphin pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. And we can't leave. Exactly, Seraphin sighs, which is why we need those feed lines. I'm gonna try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. I'm no shit fitter. While I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphin's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines, that's the next step. Take a deep breath and head out. You have discovered a drive. Drives help you track and choose your objective in Citizen Sleeper 2. The arrow button on the top left is the drive menu where you can choose which drive to track. Once a drive is tracked, a yellow marker will be placed over any location related to it. 2 types, major and minor. Completion of major drive requires rewards to upgrade, minor is 1. Keep an eye on the drive menu as you progress to see what new opportunities and objectives are available. So, nah, just buy something that low route. Nope, wrong button. There we are. this way. I can do a thing. Ah, there we go. As you're gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voice cuts through the conversation drifting out of the dockside shops. Passing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab the bag slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way he looks, but then again, Sarah told you to keep your head down. You look around for something that could break up the fight. You see a thick cooling pipe running down the alley wall. You quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in sequence down the alley, violent jets randomly bursting into the air. There's a scrambling in the alley, and you spot the figure who was being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then your vision suddenly fails. The pale liquid as a jet of coolant jumps out nearby, missing you, but sending you spinning in 0G. After a few moments, you manage to steady yourself, and as you do, you see a clear alley. The assailant having fled, with one figure gliding towards you. I suppose you think that was clever. The man gives you a severe look. Like to break up fights you didn't start? He laughs. Belt's gonna eat you up. He shifts the large bags onto his shoulder, weightless but unwieldy in 0G. How about some thanks? The man's eyebrows shoot up. You think I needed you back there? He tuts. You're the weirdest one I've met, that's for sure. You watch the man go, and then after a moment he stops and turns back. You rubs his forehead, looking down as he does. What's your deal anyway? He sighs. Maybe you're new here, but Hexport's no place for do-gooders. I know what it's like. To get beat up? The man shakes his head. Hexport's got real rough. Look, let's not hang around, alright? The man pats his chest. I'm Femi. He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. Make yourself useful. Let's head. You get the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He cuts down a side passage, looking back to check if you're following. And then he stops at a docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. Look out at the viewing window at its odd catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separated hulls welded together. Symbol crash, he says, and you assume that's the ship's name. Femi, you bringing in strays? A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you. No offense. Aye. Femi shakes his head. This one squeezes your shoulder. Help me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself. Nye raises an eyebrow. I'm sure you can handle them, big brother. Her quick response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can really tell that Femi You can't really tell if Femi noticed. Nye turns to you. Thanks, she smiles sweetly. And I'm sorry for my brother. She shoots him a glance. Just in general. Nye, Femi murmurs. Enough now. Reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nye rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent. Factory Row wouldn't take these. Femi hefts the bag and load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them. He turns back to you. Thanks for your assist, Sleeper. He nods firmly. Not what I expected. He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the symbol crash. I looks at you with raised eyebrow. I hope my brother was joking, or did you really help him? I tried. Thank you. She looks back at the ship. My brother needs more help than he admits. He's okay. She pauses, thinking, I'm gonna ask you something. She takes a deep breath and then gives you a direct look. What she built it up to. Are you looking for a crew? She looks away. Sorry to be direct, but it seems like, well, you're on Hexport. Maybe you're with a crew. She stops herself. Maybe your crew needs a crew. Maybe if you're looking. She says, why do you ask? Nye looks back at the ship and then you. Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me. She frowns at her own bluntness. Not a kid anymore, you know. but he still sees me like one. She shrugs. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. She gives you a determined look. What do you say? Think about it. A good salvage, all right. I thought you can use me. She smiles. I can spot things, find gaps, sways in. She folds her arms across her chest. I know what I'm doing. Femi taught me well. She glances back at the ship. Just consider it, all right? Let me prove myself. Suddenly, a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passage. Femi, he makes both of you nervous. Knight looks in the direction. I should go. She pushes off towards the docking bridge. I'll be waiting. God damn, my throat. Knight gives you one last glance as she departs and then disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. Cool. Oh, that was perfect. That got me all the way back to full. So confused. Whatever. Start sourcing supplies. Aha! Batgirl howls as you glide through its grand passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories precisely engineer components with rapid shipping orders. The scrappers hammer intensely at the bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there is energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way, because of the dark side. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in the number than Hexport's, and that wild, flickering city growing on their back like a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row, you can almost be back in the dark side. And then you see them, tubes, just like those Seraphim waved in your face, the feed lines. You push over the display window of the unit marked Karsten Supply in block capitals cut from whole plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines, like some large biocannibal tangled snakes. You slip inside where the sound of Factory Row is a little screen, and spot a large figure working at a bench, hunched over and concentrating. It seems he doesn't notice you. Oh wait. You let him work, watching as, despite his heavy build, he delicately aligns the components, their layers slotting like puzzle pieces. After a few moments of observing the process, he turns his head a little towards you. Can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Oh, those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Karsten places his tools and the components against the magnetic plate on the wall. He turns with a surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on cloth. With sharp eyes scanning you, but Karsten's thick-set features do not betray the results of his assessment. Custom built those for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of those old MUVs then? He sounds out the letters in a way that you don't recognize as he speaks. Try to call it anything you know about the shipping and memories. I think so. Right. Look, Karsten drifts over to where you are standing and poses his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone. Say a few hundred cryo on the clean chits. And he shoots you a glance at the feed lines. Say 400 to your size. 400. That's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they're worth. He screws up his big mouth a little into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of the bartering type myself, anyway. Barter sounds good. A little favor I need a crew for, and well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in his pocket and clasps it on his hands. And of an old Solheim rack out there. Solheim? Very old, pre-collapse. It's tucked away in the dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it, he shrugs. Only that, Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship. It's been left well alone. A salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core, and I don't care about the accountant reports, material ledgers, or whatever they kept on the damn thing. I do care about the hardware. So if I find, if I was to find you back here with that data core in the cargo hold, clean cut, complete, well then, I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines. Kirsten pauses and sniffs the air again. You just need the coordinates. Simple as that. Simple as that. So you interested? He glances back at his workbench. attention because I'm a busy man. Fuck it. Alright, then he holds out a heavy hand for you to shake, and as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm and said, "You're supposed to be closer, squeezing your arm. Let's get this in between us, alright?" He half smiles, his face huge and close to you. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive in your palm, uses the coordinates, and then he lets go of your arm with what you swear was a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Carson having returned to his workbench. You turning right out of Carson's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach, and the cacophony of the factory row in your ears. Contract. Seraphin might even be impressed. Look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind and in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly a small, firm hand on your back, and an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up! You turn in the passage and see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide. She clearly just came out to catch you. She says herself using your shoulder. Sorry, she smiles a quick, flat smile. I'll catch you. I'm Judy. Dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrappers call a deck. Their backpack full of components and trailing wires. Do I know you? She pauses, confused by the question. No. Carson, she starts. She's still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. He wants me to come with you on that job. And then why didn't he tell me? I guess he forgot. He does that sometimes. She looks at you sheepishly. He just grabbed me after you two were done talking, so... Carson's always sending me on these things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out, keep an eye on things. It'll be pretty helpful. So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship? And you can tell him when you're ready to go. I'm not sure you're coming. Me and Carson said I need to go. She glances back at the shop direction. And he does get pretty mad when people don't do what he says. Okay, I don't get the let's see. Does that mean like let's go talk to him? Because that's what I would do. Like, I to talk to him like right now. I just got done with him, so. What? I was trying not to let her come with me. Anyway, you watch her disappear down the passage. Things are getting complicated already, but at least you have a contract and a way to get at the field lines. Judy clearly works with data based on the gear she was lugging around, which might make her useful when it comes to pulling a data cord. The question is, what does she get out of it, and why didn't Kirsten mention her sooner? Consider your options as you head down towards the rig. I don't know what this is, Sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously out of the rig's window as you finish explaining. Carson sees as well as Judy offered help someone is going to cheat. If this job was easy, Carson would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars. There's definitely something going on with that Judy girl. He shakes his head. What choice do we have? What if we could get the cryo together and buy the feed lines? Is it possible? Found a contract board in the exchange further in the station. He gestures towards Hexport. We might take on a job that'll get us some of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do take on Kirsten's job, bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies, and be ready for whatever comes. Do we have time? Probably not, but without the cryo for fuel and supplies, we aren't going anywhere. Just take a look at the contract board and see what you think. While you're at it, you might want to look to see if you can scare up some freelance crew too. Any hands make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around, we take Carson's job right now, and we get it done before he can think twice. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods in farewell, heading back into the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment, you pause, letting the haze of your plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly, you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles locking tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection has broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There's nothing familiar in the pain. Nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes and you're back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, you becoming a pulsing throb, and then a residual flicker. You flex in 0 G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of a distance that persists beyond the pain. A disconnecting between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you'll have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. You could be the moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try and shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they're yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. Open the map to view it. Contracts are high-risk, high-reward jobs that you and your crew can take on. Contracts require preparation and care to succeed. You'll need to gather enough fuel to travel to the contract, gather as many supplies as you can afford to keep you and your crew going. Look for opportunities to recruit crew, temporarily or permanently, to help you on your contract. Consider which crew to take carefully. They have different skills and stresses and resistance, and who you choose can affect the story. Once you are ready, you can select the contract from the map, and then your crew to proceed. game's interesting, it's just not something I would normally play. And as a result, it's not making much sense to me. Scrapyards have paid data diffusal to offer attack, and technically tends to be laced with protocols and countermeasures that need to see. This get me? Not much more. Really hate the old ones and twos. Gambling. And then getting a proper meal in our gut. Cycle, sleep for the night. I guess take her. I don't know what I'm doing. It's a drone. It's a drone. Seraphin spots the signal source first. The light barely shimmering off its dark hull plating. A design trait that betrays its covert use. A flash catches your attention, and you see a rent in the hull through which red light pulses. Wounded, Seraphin shakes his head. Wish they'd finished the job. You seen one before? Seraphin looks back over his shoulder towards you. We've seen one before, don't you? He sighs. Sorry, I know it's your first fault. It isn't your fault, Jesus Christ. He looks at the drone. Lane had us work on one dark side bay, though it was barely a shell, disarmed and deactivated. He had us searching through its guts for salvage. Even that one gave me the creeps, and it had its core ripped out. He pushes the ship closer. This one's still alive. Conway, Nina kisses her teeth. Corporate scum. Glance over at her and see the fire in her bright eyes. They don't even dare come here and force us out themselves. It's all proxies and drones. She shakes her head. Typical core-bred cowards. Run into them before, have you? She glances at you. You might say that. She looks at the drone. You won't see me take my eyes off that thing for a second. Seraphim carefully guides the ship closer. You watch the drone. System is full of those things now, running missions for their operators. Rare to see one out here in the belt though. Maybe got hit during a run with Senat Stats Mercs. What the fuck is that name? Senat Stat. It looks like it's drifting. Most of the system's blown out, but look here. He jabs a finger towards the red light on the far side of the drone. It's still broadcasting, maybe even receiving. Can it attack us? Unlikely. It would have blasted us already if it could. Comforting. Seraphim brings you ever closer. What I remember from the dark side job is that the central core and the broadcast array need to be shut off to kill these things. The core will turn off local systems, and the broadcast array will sever the link with the convoy operations. Seraphim swallows, but you can bet those systems are protected. Your attention is suddenly drawn by a shudder from the drone, like a tremor running along its length. This thing is rigged to blow, Sleeper. He frowns. We go slow and careful, and we don't touch anything we don't know about. You turn back to Naya. You hear that? I gotcha. She looks sincere. Seraphim brings the rig to a stop, close enough for you to cross through the open space to reach the drone's hull. Suit up. You head out of the airlock to prepare. As you get suited up, you think of the corporate war taking place in the inner system. The war that this drone was driven from. Out here on the shore of the conflict, the biggest danger is that this flotsam and jetsam drifting in and out with the tides and orbits of the system might one cycle bring the war with it. For now, the belt is outside of its reach, but looking out at the red pulsing drone, that doesn't give you much comfort. Why am I struggling with reading right now? Jesus Christ. Welcome to your first contract. While on a contract, you'll be assigned 2 dice for each crew member. As you would assign your own dice, pay attention to the crew's skills and use them effectively. On certain outcomes, crew will take crew stress. When their stress is full, you will no longer be able to use them to perform actions. While on contract, your energy bar will automatically be supplied for each cycle that you have available supplies. When your supplies are depleted, both you and your crew will take 1 stress per cycle. Contracts also have their own contract stress. When this bar is filled, the contract will fail. Good luck. push. Thank you. End cycle, we're all out of stuff to do. Oh, fuck, fight your old 1 and 2s, girl. You have taken damage to a dice because of stress. When your dice are rolled at the start of the cycle, your stress dictates if you take damage or not. Higher stress means higher chance of damage. White markers above the stress bar tell you which numbers will damage you. Okay, each dice has 3 dice health. Dice will break. Oh. Lovely jubbly. Jesus, fuck me. Okay. First part though. You hear beeping immediately. Among the chambers and cabling of the drone's interior, something has started counting down. Guys, Naya's voice comes hissing through the suit's comm channel. Does anyone else hear that? Because I'm getting nervous. Shit, Seraphim ordered. That's what I was worried about. Are we screwed? Can't be sure. Seraphim drops his voice to a whisper, as if it might make a difference. Either this thing's about to send out a distress call or it's about to blow. We gotta shut the system down fast, he pauses. Then we move on to the other side because I bet you that's where the supplies are waiting for us there. A surprise waiting for us there too. We good? Nina sounds tense. Am I heading back to the ship or what? Seraphim cuts in. We're good. We keep going. He shuts off the channel. Take a moment in the silence. Alright. Time to deal with this fast, and then get over to the other side before something happens. Part of stress right now. Ugh. Shit. Okay. This end first. Yeah, we'll use that first. better than either of mine. Awesome. The thrumming, pulsing interior of the drone goes still for the first time since you boarded it. You look across at Seraphim and Nia and share a smile. You all exhale so loudly it can be heard over the suit's shared comm channel. The drone is dead. One less piece of Conway shit to worry about, Nina grins. We killed it. Don't get too excited, Seraphim cuts in. It was looking pretty rough when we got here. You make your way back out to the hull. The drone is now faintly rolling in one direction. Its stabilizers offline. Nina catches up with you as you glide towards the rig. Make a pretty good crew, Sleeper. What will your brother think? Don't go ruin it by bringing him into this. Maybe he'll never find out. You reach the Rid's airlock and take one last look at the drone's dark hull. It catches the light as it rolls into the vacuum. At some point in the near future, this drone will likely be smashed into pieces by one of the many asteroids of the belt, spreading across this place like a twinkling dust. As the thought pleases you. As does the thought of all the cryo Hexport now owes you. Time to go collect. Awesome. Oh, I didn't mean to press push. And leave, we're done. We out this bitch. After docking at Hexport, Seraphim lets go of the controls and leans back in his chair. Nina leans over to you. Thank you, Sleeper. She stretches. I know you took a chance on me. Thanks for helping. Nina smiles an infectious smile. It was good to make a contract work. Seraphim smiles. No matter how we pull it off. It's hard not to agree, and it feels better when the Hexport courier comes with a full lockbox of chits. Lane may still be hunting you, but this should help the effort to slip his net. Suddenly you hear a familiar voice. Nye. Femi glides into view, approaching from the docks. He fixes you with a stare. What are you playing at, Sleeper? I'm gonna stay silent. Don't come throwing your weight around, Femi. I can make my own decisions. She glances back at you. Sleeper took me at my word, and I'm grateful. Fumi is fuming. Did they now? He turns to you. Well, if you're working for Sleeper, I hope they paid you well. Nina looks away. Well, I asked, so... Oh, so they aren't paying you? Seraphim crosses his arm. Let's keep this civil. Realize this isn't the first time he's meeting Femi. If we're being civil, it seems like Naya's owed her share. Whatever. Yeah, I didn't want to take the money, but, you know. Follows Femi across the docks. Seraphim watches them go. You sure know how to pick 'em, Sleeper. He shakes his head. He turns away and heads back along the docking bridge. I just hope we aren't going to end up a sack of cryo short when we need to get out of here. Man, calm your shit. Just completed a drive or upgrade points. You have push upgrades available through the character UI. Sure, we can twice. Net gain 1. How did it say that I fixed my dice? No. Dice health. Dice will break and must be repaired to use normally on the safe difficulty. Broken dice are worth 1. All other difficulties, they cannot be used. At a hub, you can repair dice at the rig workshop location once unlocked. Well, shit. As it says, my dice are almost completely busted. And like, the only thing I can do is this. Or just keep farming money. But that's taking a long time. Misgivings about bringing the kid. Mostly because you feel if you're gonna have somebody along with the crew, you're gonna be told beforehand. So, I'm leaving without him. Alright, the Solheim derelict fills the cockpit windows, all twisted plates and skeletal strutwork. You watch in horror and fascination as Seraphin completed the approach, both of you silent in the presence of this decaying beast. Now, as you settle beside it, Seraphin is the first to break silence. This thing is already dead. He shakes his head. It's a corpse, sleeper. He nudges the ship closer, looking for a place to dock. I touch this thing too hard, it crumbles into dust. Let's not do that. Seraphin does a little mock salute. Aye aye. He rolls his eyes. Any other tips? The decaying, twisted remains of the derelict are hard to parse at first, but as you look over its surface, you get a vague sense of the ship's plan. The data core you're looking for will likely be capped near the bridge, but locating it will take some thought. Another option is to ask Seraphin to take you around the wreck to assess it better, though navigation so close to the derelict might be risky. Glance down at the console in front of your seat. The vague memory of once having turned into moments like this is encouraging you. Whatever. You tap the controls, half guided by physical patterns of button presses that exist in your muscle memory, but whose function you've lost track of. Something begins to emerge on one side of the cockpit's forward screens, and Seraphin looks over at it with interest. You bring up a series of scans of the hull of the hulking derelict, drilling down into them to find a map of data pathways. A long dark, whose presence is still detectable. You dial into a nexus where they gather. There you realize that's the bridge. Nicely done. Seraphim is studying the screen. He looks impressed, but also shoots you a suspicious glance, as if your display of skill is inconsistent with the memories you seem to have lost. Let's head up there. Seraphim takes control of the ship, avoiding the debris field closer to the center of the wreck. He settles in position near a protrusion at the far end. This is as far as I'll go. Seraphim taps the anchoring controls. We should be able to anchor the ship to those plates. You watch as two reticles align the screen on the screen in front of Seraphim, and then flash as he fires a pair of pit and tipped lines at the nearest solid hull plate. The pitons slam into the plates, and despite their solid appearance, they instantly shatter, the fragments spinning out across the wreck, sliding into other places of the building, spiraling storm debris. Shit! Seraphim nudges the ship back and steadies it as the debris cascades along the surface of the wreck. The damage seems mostly superficial, but it underlies just how fragile the derelict is. As you both watch the debris cloud break away and drift, the tense silence descends. Not your fault. Seraphim shakes his head. Fault's not going to matter if we both end up sliced into ribbons by a cloud like that. Seraphim unclips from his seat and you follow suit. Both glide down towards the rear airlock in silence. Seraphim's frustration clear. As you reach the airlock, Seraphim begins suiting up. If we're lucky, that little collision hasn't started a cascade that will end with this place coming apart under our feet. Seraphim violently kicks his legs into a set of EVA trousers, irritated by his own carelessness. The rest of the preparation process takes place in intense silence, each of you considering the delicate job ahead. You suit up too, though you don't need a helmet to breathe. You slide one on and lock the seals for protection. This wreck isn't going to give up its salvage easily. The course should be near the bridge, maybe even inside it, but there's a lot of wreck here, and there might be good salvage tucked in the cargo hold. Once the suits are on and the seals are checked, you cycle the lock and stare out into the vast expanse of the twisted hulk before you. Time to go to work. Cycle there. We don't have anything decent. If we had 3s or higher, I'd say go for it. Now I put the lowest one to a 4, actually. lies silent. The pale beams of your suit lamp catch rows of terminals and clouds of glittering dust. Wires wave like seaweed, and the whole scene appears as if it's underwater, chaotic but still. Seraphin glides up beside you. He peers at you through his suit visor. Everything alright? Just assessing. Seraphin raises an eyebrow. Is that what you call it? Oh, Seraphin stretches in his suit. I'll have to admit, it's nice to be back working, especially now that we're the ones who will reap the benefits. He claps you on the shoulder. Feels good to be taking our fate in our own hands. I know it's pretty rough here, back on pretty rough there back on Hexport, and out here we're just as likely to get shredded by debris as to find the damn data core. But aren't you glad we made a break for it? He pauses and looks down, having asked the question almost by accident. I mean, I am. I just don't want to speak for you. We'll see. That's true. He looks away. Thing is, this thing is gonna catch up with us one day. Look, Seraphin checks his suit wrist seals. Once we've got a bit of space between us, once we've gone the distance, if we even manage to get that far, don't feel like you owe me. I'm no charity case. If you want us to go our separate ways, fine by me. He meets your eye. Just do me the favor of telling me to my face. That won't happen. Seraphin nods but doesn't respond. After a moment, he shines his torch out into the dark, checking the rows of terminals all across the bridge. You watch the glittering dust as it eddies in the beam. Let's get to it. You watch as he crosses the bridge, his torch probing the dark corners. You feel a chill run through your body as you imagine the people that once ran this ship, the Solheim crew, surely long dead. What was it like here before the collapse? When this system was a jewel in Solheim's crown? It's impossible to know, but that history has been lost to you now. All that you can do is pick up from the ruins. Alright, 1 point left to go on that, and I got all that done. Are you joking? Oh, you're joking. I was doing just fine yesterday with 3s and 4s. Yes, I'm well aware mission's currently fucked. Oh my god. Another die. Nervously glide the core out of the cradle, a large ball almost half your height in diameter. It glides out of the framework that held it, connections waving loose and cut. Seraphim whistles from somewhere behind you, the shrill sound echoing through your suit comms. Look at that. You feel a reassuring pat on your shoulder as you stabilize the core and take away your hands. Nicely done. You drift back a little bit, look at the floating sphere of the core. You feel a swell of pride, knowing that you and Seraphim somehow extracted it from this decaying ruin intact. It catches the torchlight as it turns, its metal surface coated in dust, but still shining bright beneath it. As you watch, it's hard not to wonder what might be stored on such a relic from before the collapse. The system was once the jewel in Solheim's crown. Everyone knows that. And then the company collapsed, forcing them to pull out completely. But when they did, so much was lost, and even more was purged by corporate protocols. Is the static core just filled with tedious reports, or is there something else in there? Seraphim taps you on your shoulder, bringing you out of your thoughts. You're right in there? Just wondering what's on it. Seraphim follows your gaze. The data core? He shrugs. Corporate bullshit, I guess. The dental records of hundreds of long-dead employees? Who cares? You're right. Let's go. You and Seraphim position yourselves on either side of the core and guide it back through the layers of the ship, through passages and bays until you're back at the bridge airlock. Seraphim guides the core out into the hull of the ship, tethering it to a guideline. You both take it towards the ship, ready to load it on board. As you guide the core onto the cargo hold, you glance down at the derelict and into the gaping holes in its hull, thinking about how the ship would have looked when it was still running all those decades ago. Take one last look, and then Seraphim calls you inside. Oh, he's not gonna... Okay. Like, well, we still got stuff to extract. There's a horrifying lurch. You are sent spinning through the bay as you were crossing in a hail of debris. You watch as the side of the bay silently tears open in front of you, a gaping black maw toothed with flying debris. You stare into it, your breath heavy in your ears, your eyes wide open. Suddenly, you feel a tug on your back, your tether. As you spin back from the sudden arrest of your glide, you see Seraphim holding on to the other end, reeling you towards him. We have to go, Sleeper. His voice comes, urge over the comm channel. This place is done. You both make your way up through the splitting derelict silence, charting a path through what were once passages but are now twisted tubes, like the intestinal tract of some dead creature. Eventually, you make your way out onto the surface and find the rig still tethered, but gashed with debris and scars. You and Seraphim exchange concerned glances. We are going to pay for this. He looks over the damages. Let's hope she still flies. You tether yourself and push off from the hull, Seraphim guiding you through the debris. Below you, the derelict is expanding in slow motion, tearing apart into a swarm of razor-edged shards. At least we have something to show for all this, Seraphim reasons. Although, I wish we'd left before the ship tore up our rig. You arrive at the rig's airlock and bundle yourself inside, noticing the exterior damage. It looks mostly superficial, but it will no doubt take its toll on the ship. Once you are back on the cockpit, you look out towards the derelict, shattered form. It seems you'll be its last visitors. Yep, we done here. Seraphim sighs as you arrive into Hexport, the sense of relief palpable. He completes the landing protocols and begins shutting the rig's engine off. Well, we made it, Seraphim whistles. It's touch and go for a minute, but a buzz from the console takes you both by surprise. Seraphim stares at the blinking red key for a moment before he presses it. Someone is outside. He taps a few keys in the camera view of the external lock, now surrounded by a docking bridge. Comes into view. A figure is floating there. You both lean, trying to identify them. The figure looks up. It's Junie. Do you know this girl? Explain. Tell Seraphim about your encounter with Junie after meeting Carson and her insistence that Carson had asked her to come along the contract, and insistence you promptly ignored. Seraphim raises an eyebrow. So you think she works for Carson and has come to collect, or is something else going on? I have no idea. Well, if she's Carson's, we shouldn't let her in. He squints at the screen. She doesn't look too dangerous to me. He hammers the airlock button, and you see it slide open. We should head down there and meet her. You both unclip from your seats and glide down to the airlock, where Junie is waiting impatiently inside. Seraphim pulls the release lever. You left me behind, Sleeper? Junie drifts out of the airlock and a frustrated look on her face. What happened? Seraphim glances between the two of you, and you can see that he is slightly amused to see you put on the spot. I'm be dead ass. I think she lied. The atmosphere in the passage suddenly becomes tense. Junie looks between the two of you. Look, she pauses. That's part of why I'm here. I don't work for Kirsten. I'm sorry. I told you I did. She looks down. That was a mistake. You lie. Yes. She looks away. I know I shouldn't have done that, but if I had explained, would you have taken me? I wanted a chance to show you my worth before I told you everything. She pauses. I also wanted a chance to see the Solheim data core. But now it doesn't matter anymore. You've brought it here. What do you want with the core? Seraphim cuts in, his arms folded, posture defensive. Do you know how many of these cores are left intact? Junie asks, her eyes bright and intense. Like it or not, we live in Solheim's shadow, in their ruins, and yet we know almost nothing.
What chances do we have of understanding how we got here when others like it, with others like them, like Sinetstat and Conway are descending on the system? This station and most of the other habitats of the belt are built on Solheim foundations. She frowns. Yet we're too busy scavenging them to take the time to look for answers. Men like Carson want nothing but the raw materials of cores like the ones we lost. She shakes her head. We can do better. We can learn our history and how this system was settled. We can better learn the technology we built ourselves on. We can uncover Solheim's crimes and seek to make amends. She meets your eye. We can see beyond survival towards something else. Keep your speeches. Seraphine cuts in. We need the core. You aren't going anywhere near it. Judy looks crestfallen. Carson won't come for you if that's what you're worried about. He's ignorant and stubborn, but he isn't vengeful. That's not what we're worried about. You tell Judy about the feed lines Kirsten has, and you and Seraphine fleeing Leanne, and that you can't run further without them. Seraphine gives you a strong look as you do. Clearly, he thinks telling anyone your story is an unnecessary risk. Which it is. Carson doesn't deserve this treasure, sleeper. She shakes her head. All he wants to do is wipe it clean so he can use the interface with Hexward. All that data, gone. I want to extract the data to make use of it. You see some genuine emotion flicker in her eyes. This is the best use of the core. Please, Judy sighs. I know this is a lot to ask. She rubs her hands together nervously. After extracting the data, the core will be unusable. There's a security system that will fry the core if data duplication is attempted. I can delay it as long as it takes to copy the data, but after that, what do we get? Judy pauses to think, her eyes darting back and forth as if trying to calculate something in her mind. I'll help you steal the feed lines, bet. Agent of Chaos all the fucking way. I'll help you steal the field line. She stares at both of you with determination. We can do it together. Kirsten's an idiot. I can hack his security and you can pull them out of there. She glances at Seraphine. You look tough, she shrugs. We can do it. Why would we do that? Judy looks between the two of you. Hexward hasn't been exactly kind to me, but Kirsten has been the least kind of all. I was trying to deal with Carson to try to get those derelict coordinates from the moment I arrived here, and he ran me in circles. She shakes her head. Maybe you think bringing him the core will work out for you, but I'm not so sure. She pauses. Even if he gives you the feed lines, he will still have an angle, I'm sure of it. Seraphine is watching her closely. Even if I do take you at your word, which, given everything, seems a little tough, how do you even do this? How do we even do this? He raises an eyebrow. You're telling me that we just drift in there and take the feed lines? Look, I get it. You don't trust me, she pauses. But what if I have a vested interest in this working out? There's nothing left for me here, and I don't much feel like hanging out after waiting for Kirsten to figure out my involvement in all this. I need safe passage. You need the feed lines to grant it. She allows herself a smile. See where I'm going with this. We all get something. We'll have the factory row and scope the place out. Maybe there we can work out a plan. She glances between the two of you. Trust me, we can find a way. Keep it simple, clean. Simple's good. Alright, Seraphine cuts in, his dark look betraying his concerns. So, Judy looks at you expectantly. You can keep the core here in your hold until we are done. I can do the data copy once we leave Hexport with the feed lines installed. Call it your insurance policy. You look at Seraphine, he seems to be waiting for your lead. What's the deal? Judy's eyes brighten. Thank you, Sleeper, she smiles. I'll make your trust worth it, promise. I will get myself set up in the bay in Factory Row. I have a good one in mind. Then, when you're ready, I'll meet up there and get the setup. And with that, she says her goodbyes and passes through the airlock, drifting along the docking bridges towards Hexport. You look at Seraphim. I'm saying nothing, Sleeper. It clips from a sea. Either this is the kind of mess you have to go through to get to the other side, or it's the kind that you never escape. Either way, we're in it now. You stare as the chaotic lights of Hexport and wonder if anything in the Starward belt ever went smoothly. Jesus, this music is getting loud. Seraphim wakes you gently. Sleeper, we're out of time. He checks the door to the bunks, and you hear a faint banging in the corridor beyond. He turns back to meet your eye. They're here. What do you mean? Oh, shit. Locked in the ship station, we can't release the docking bridge. Our credentials are being refused. A sudden banging echoes through the ship. Seraphim looks away towards the source of the sound. I don't know if they know we're here, but they certainly want to get in. He shakes his head. I reckon we have minutes before they get out a cutting torch. What do we do? The feed lines aren't bust. They aren't going to happen now. Our best chance is to burn out of here as fast as we can and hope the drift takes us to a station when we run out of fuel. Jesus fuck. Okay. There's a big manual release levers inside the docking bridge itself, but to get them you have to go through the airlock. Once you do that, you'll need to get back and the docking bridge releases. Well, exercise. Okay. Okay, shit. Jesus Christ. Okay. You try to move and feel a wave of flickering pain pass through your body. You flinch and steady your nerves. You find yourself strapped to a seat in the cockpit. Seraphim doesn't seem to have noticed you're awake. You open your mouth to speak, but no words come out. There's a crackle of noise that echoes through the ship's comms. Seraphim is glancing nervously at his consoles. Something has spooked him. Sleeper, the voice as distorted as it is cuts through. Lane. I know you're there. A hissing pause. You're slipping away, a squawk of noise. But we can't have that. You don't understand why Seraphim isn't reacting to the sound of Lane's voice, then you realize he can't hear it. The voice is in your head. I take this personally, Sleeper. A sharp intake of breath. After all my investment, all my care expended upon you, this is how you repay me? I see a little something glinting out there. Lane continues. Could that be you? You don't move. You don't breathe. all you hear is Lane's voice. Something shifts in you, a sudden impetus, a will to move that is not your own. You unclip from your straight, drifting towards Seraphin. Seraphin looks over his shoulder and sees you. You're up. He looks surprised. Take it slow, alright? There's a transmission coming out of Hexport, some kind of evac order. He turns back to his console. Let me check this. You keep moving forward. Something isn't right. You don't feel right. A numbness grows in your body, your fingers flexing without your input. Reach towards Seraphin. No, not you. Something reaches out towards Seraphin through you. He turns again to see you reaching for him, grasping at his neck. Attention flickers in his eyes. Fear. A hissing silence, and then a rumbling blast. All at once, the rig screams, system seizing in electromagnetic paralysis. All at once, the rig shifts, carried on some shockwave flight. Pain, then darkness. Voices echo warmly through your mind. You can't quite make them out as what's being said, and any attempt to focus causes a growing flare of pain. So you let them fill the air, unidentifiable and soft. You are floating, and so you cannot yet feel your body or its own weight. The feeling is pleasant, soothing, and yet the moment you realize this, it begins to fade. Pain shoots through your system, a reminder of the terrible damage you have suffered, and it's bright, white hot. Then it's bright, white hot for a moment, and then it's gone. Something spasming your fingers, and you flick it away. The sensation crosses the sole of your foot, and you kick it with your leg. A weight settles itself in your chest. You're awake. You open your eyes to light playing across the surface, patterned with the stained cushioning. You're alone. The voice is replaced by the hum of air cycling, the distant clink of maintenance systems. You are alone, and this is not your ship. You jerk upwards against the straps that hold you loosely to the berth, suddenly confronted with the last thing you remember, an overwhelming numbness, and below it, an insipid, animating force creeping through your mind. You pull the straps and free yourself, floating up into the small habitation room. Cushioned and worn, your mind is racing. Where is this? You glance around, taking in the small room with its knickknacks tucked behind webbings, its stained and worn storage units, its faded padding. This is someone's home. Cold light fills the room, and you float over to the dark square of a window. You see stars, the bright pinpricks of drive trails and skeletal docking bridges. This is a station. A sudden hiss draws your attention to the door, which slides open with a puff of equalizing pressure. The entering figure jumps as they see you're awake. You're up! They hesitate in the doorway. Who are you? They laugh nervously. Right, we didn't meet. They glance back out of the doorway as if looking for help. I'm Bliss, they shrug. Not sure what to add. Your friend, Seraphin, is out. I'm sorry, he brought you here. Can you prove it? They look confused. Not really, they laugh. This is my room. They glance around. Not much, I know. We're in my repair bay on the far spindle, if you know where that is. In the belt? Yeah, they smile sympathetically. In the belt. They look around the room again. Come on, let's go somewhere you're a little more comfortable. They hold out a hand. You're safe, don't worry. You follow them into the corridor, gliding behind them. They move with an ease of someone who is either born in zero-G or has spent most of their life in it. They guide you to an enclosed balcony where heavily scratched, thick acrylic windows look out onto a chaotic-looking wet dock. At the center of the dock is a rig, scratched and worn, but still your ship. It's a reassuring sight. So what happened? Your ship, Bliss pauses. You're lucky I heard your stress signal. You sense they are holding something back. I guess that expensive long-range array I was tricked into buying finally paid off. They laughed to themselves. Well, at least for someone. You were out cold when I got there, and you have been out for you have been for all the cycles since. Your friend wasn't in great shape either, but he's bounced back fast. I make a habit of doing that. Seraphin's voice makes you spin around. Good to see you up. He can't suppress a smile. Are you okay? Don't start fussing over me, sleeper. I'm good. Your eyes follow the Seraphin's bandaged abdomen. He notices and pulls his jacket over his wound. Certainly looks better than when you came in. You should have seen Bliss abruptly sobs after Seraphin glares in their direction. Here, Seraphin pulls a few chits out of his pocket. Catch. He slings them over to Bliss. That's all I can get for now. Working in your condition? Please, I'm fine. Bliss looks at you apologetically. I know what it looks like, but I'm sorry I can't work for free, but keeping this place going is bad enough. I get it. Seraphin nods. We're just thankful you towed us in. We aren't freeloaders. Bliss looks between the two of you. We'll let you two catch up. They turn away. I'm glad you're awake. We were worried. They pat you on the shoulder and glide back towards the corridor. With Bliss gone, silence descends on you and Seraphin. Both of you unsure what to say. What happened? What do you remember? Seraphin grimaces at the mention of his name. Lane, he shakes his head. Seraphin looks out at the rig and takes a breath, steeling himself for what he has to say. Hexfort is... He clears his throat. It's gone. Fucking gone. It's gone. Dropped off the map. No signals apart from the one sent from the fleeing ships, he frowns. I don't know what happened. No one does. Your mind skips, and I want to focus on the information you've just been told. You think of the constant activity of the bends, the rumble of the factory row. Karsten, gone. By the time Bliss reached us, we had drifted out of range. They couldn't have seen it go up, but I saw Sleeper. Something exploded, white hot. He rubs his arms, suppressing a shiver. A moment later, the shockwave was on us. The rig was crippled, the engine kept firing, but guidance went offline, sending us arcing out and across the belt. He drops his hand inside his jacket, pressing against the bandage on his side. I managed to get her under control, but not before we started spinning. My restraints came loose and you weren't even strapped in, so we both got scrambled. He smiles and we smile, like being trapped in an auto wash. He turns back to you. I'm impressed you made it, to be honest. A flesh and blood human would have been smashed to pieces. He goes silent, the image a little too raw for him to continue. Good of me to do with us? Seraphin shrugs. Yes, as good as mine. Would Lane do something like that? Doesn't make any sense. I would suppose a gang, they run dark side. They don't go around blowing up stations. All anyone is seeing is debris and radiation. I picked up a lot of ship transponders before the rig went offline. Maybe some people got out. He stops. Unable to add anything more. We both float in silence for a moment. So, we lost our tail. Seems like it. He looks away. At least that shockwave would have buried our trail out of the belt by now, for now. We already owe Bless for the work they did on the rig. It isn't finished yet. A few more cycles, I've been told. Bliss won't hold us hostage, but I don't like to skip out on paying. Even if we could get the rig started up, he rubs his necklace between his fingers. Bad karma. Beyond that, we need work. Fuel, supplies, and we need to make sure you're okay. He counts off the issues on his fingers. After that, I haven't heard of anybody coming after us. And if they did, they'd have come through Hexport, what's left of it. The far spindle is way out of Lance territory anyway. They call this bit of the belt a wash, and the stations here run differently to dark side, so for now we have some freedom. freedom to go broke, starve, and get in even more trouble than that is. In all honesty, I was hoping you might have some ideas. He pats you on the shoulder. This is what this place. First Mental, there's plenty to see. This is a free station, no one faction holds control, so it's quite the circus. Just watch your step out there. Surfer pauses and stares down. Look, sleeper. He rubs aside. I'm not sure I can work right now. I just got kicked out of a salvage yard for passing out on the job. He looks away. Even with the pain meds, I've been able to scare up. I can fly, that's for sure. He stares obstinately at the rig. But if you're gonna need some crew if you want to do any serious work, he chews his lip. I'm sorry. Don't be. Big sleeper. He turns away. God damn. He turns away. I'm gonna take rest on the rig. I'm wiped. You look at the rig as he leaves. The warmth and softness of your waking moments now feel like distant memory. What is this? Is this what you wanted? Freedom? A chance to work for yourself, not Lane? I think I'm gonna be done when I get to this next stopping point. Jesus. Well, here it is. With all the problems and complications you can imagine. And at what cost? Could Lane have wiped out Hexport just to try to end you? You shiver at the thought. But if not Lane, then who? Theories cloud your mind. Let's push them away for now. Now, not the time for theories. You run your hands along your body, feeling the marks and holes left by the hunter's weapons, and you know that in that moment, you have been irreparably damaged by the encounter. Realize these scars are reminders. You will not be caught like that again. You swear it. You take a breath. Time to make a plan. You've gained some glitch. Your current level of glitch represented by a glitch clock beside your dice. You can have a maximum of 6. Each level of glitch you will gain an increased chance of rolling a glitched dice. Each time you roll a glitched dice, you clear one level of glitch. Glitched dice have an 8% negative outcome. Ugh. Alright. I think I'm actually going to leave it there because I am scratchy as shit in my throat. This game's really interesting. Confusing as fuck for me, but I'm not liking it. So yeah. Thank anybody who decided to pop in and watch the stream with me. And I think I'm going to continue this on Monday. So yeah, see you Monday. Deuces.